Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to Palmetto Sports Daily. Rick Henry here in Columbia, joined today by Teagan Brown in Myrtle Beach, Summer Hector down on the coast, also in Charleston, and Caroline Sorrell in Greenville, up in the upstate. Hello, ladies, and let's talk some college football. We'll start with the Gamecocks. You know, their disappointing season continued over the weekend as they lost another tough game to Ole Miss on the road. And on Sunday, Shane Beamer decided he had to make a change because this offense kept sputtering. So he fired offensive coordinator Mike Shula. The Gamecocks are 3-6, and the offense is one of the worst in the SEC, one of the least productive in the country. And it's been a frustrating year for Shane. We got some video of him. The first clip we're going to see is Shane after a home loss to Alabama, and you can just see it written all over his face. The poor guy looks like he's in agony. And this takes a lot out of a head coach when they come so close and they can't get it done. 4 times this season, they've gone into the fourth quarter either leading or down by 1 score, and they just can't get over the hump. There's Mike Shula. He was named head coach last December, replacing Dowell Loggins, who took the Appalachian State head coaching job. And unfortunately, despite his years of experience as a head coach, working in the NFL as an assistant with Carolina Panthers, where Cam Newton was his quarterback, it just never seemed to fire as the OC for the Gamecocks. So a change had to be made. They've got 3 games to go. They've got to win all 3 to become bowl eligible. They've got a bye week, so they've got time to work on improving the offense, and then they'll go on the road to Texas A&M. And they'll close it out with 2 home games against Coastal Carolina and Clemson. So we'll see if this change can be made. Summer, your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, Rick, I feel like back at the bowl game against Illinois when we watched this, right? I remember a lot of us left being like, what was kind of Shula doing? Is this what we're going to get next season? We thought, okay, well, you know, it was a bowl game. Maybe guys were checked out. And then it kind of seems like this entire season, that's what we saw from him. So I don't know if we kind of should have seen it written in the stars back then. But like, I know some people have said this was too late, and it is disappointing. Like you said, after knowing what Shula did with guys like Cam Newton, I thought he's going to come in here and help, you know, mold and, you know, form Lenora Sellers, and he just didn't do it. But, yeah, we were talking before the show, too, who's going to call plays now. I know, Rick, you were saying you think Sean Elliott's got to be down there on the field being that presence, but I imagine he's going to play a big role in that. It'll be interesting to see. Luckily, they have a bye week this week before they're back at it in 2 weeks with Texas A&M. But, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what the Gamecocks do from here on out. And then for guys like Lenora Sellers, I hope someone does come in who can develop this guy, because this is the kind of quarterback that we would like to see grow and improve here. So it's going to be really disappointing to see him not, you know, develop as he should be here and in the SEC. Teagan, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, poor South Carolina this year just being a victim of preseason hype. I mean, we talked about the team overall and what we thought they were going to do, and then what we thought Mike Shula was going to do, and clearly none of those things happened. You know, 3 games left. You've got a tough Texas A&M team. Looks like a loss to me for South Carolina unless we get some crazy surprise with this change. And then after that, you know, kind of 2 more question marks. So bowl game for me just seems out of the question for them. I don't know if maybe this had to be a learn from our mistakes type of year or what it is. But I think that there are just so many question marks about this team now that when we do ultimately get to next season, I don't even know how to predict, you know, what they're going to be like, Caroline.
Yeah, it's really hard to say at this point, Teagan. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you're South Carolina, you have to win out. You know, you don't really have a choice at this point, and the odds of that happening don't look great. I completely agree with you, and I think I'm going to go out there and throw this out there because I don't want to speak it into existence, but it very well could be true. That last game of the season against South Carolina and Clemson very well could be the game where whoever wins is going to a bowl game and whoever loses is not going to end up getting 3-1. South Carolina is sitting at 3-6 after the weekend, and the Tigers are now 3-5. They ended up falling 46-45 against Duke. That's their first loss to Duke at home since 1980. That snaps a 15-game home winning streak against the Blue Devils. And the case for the Tigers over the course of the season has kind of been the offense being a little bit slow. That did not happen this week. They had 560 yards of offense, 175 on the ground. There was a lot of scoring that happened in this game, but it felt like the Tigers defense just gave up touchdowns to Duke and critical points, the one to tie the game right before the half. And then, of course, the last drive of the game for Duke. Very controversial call there that we'll unpack, I'm sure, here in a few minutes. But Darian Mensah's pass to his receiver was incomplete. Clemson's defender, Avion Terrell, got called for an defensive pass interference penalty, I should say. That allowed Duke to go in, move the ball up to the 3-yard line, score a touchdown, and then the ensuing go-ahead game-winning 2-point conversion to go ahead and win by 1. Head coach Dabo Swinney was not very fond of that call after the game. He actually ended up getting fined $10,000 by the ACC, so they fined Clemson and then issued a public reprimand for Dabo Swinney, saying that he violated the conference's sportsmanship policy with his comments after the game. So let's go ahead and listen to those about how Dabo felt after that call.
Y'all saw it. It shouldn't come down to that. You know, we had plenty of opportunities to win the game, but, you know, that's one of the worst calls I've ever seen in a game ever in my entire coaching career, ever. In a situation like that, I don't really know what else to say, but I don't want to make that a deal because we should have won the game.
Now, guys, I don't want to get fined, so I don't want to really speculate on the call here, but I mean, you know, it came at a very critical point of the game. People have strong opinions either way. I'm curious what you guys thought about that pass interference call there at the end. Rick?
Caroline, we don't have to worry about getting fined, making comments about the officials. That play that Dabo, got so upset about, if you look at the play the whole way through, there definitely was what we consider holding by the Clemson defender. People are concentrating on the end of the play where it looks probably like it was offensive pass interference. But, again, Dabo is frustrated. We saw him on the sidelines chewing out his defense. And you mentioned that, hey, this is the first time that Clemson has lost at home to Wake Forest since 1980. Well, you know what? I'm sitting here thinking about it. That win by Wake Forest in 1980 is probably more impressive than what happened Saturday, because that 1980 Clemson game, they played against that year's Heisman Trophy winner, George Rogers, running back, and a future Heisman Trophy winner, Herschel Walker at Georgia. And guess what? Neither one of them scored a touchdown against the Tigers. Not only for that season, but during their entire careers going against Clemson. And this year, the Clemson defense, they've been getting pushed around by a lot of teams. Teagan.
Yeah, I think that Dabo's comments, if the ACC finds him, fine. I think he absolutely stands by that statement. Whether, any of our viewers agree with him or not, the game's outcome is the game's outcome. We can't change that. Clemson has struggled this season. They're still continuing to struggle. Again, the bowl game question for them also up in the air. So I don't know what they've got to do to get over this hump, but we can't just blame, officiating for this game, Summer.
I think it was kind of funny that in the soundbite, Dabo was like, I don't want to make a big deal about this because we didn't win the game, and yet here we are all talking about it because he ended up getting fined. But I get this is how it works in college football, right? Is they got to be careful about all of that. But yeah, like he said, I mean, bottom line, you shouldn't have been in a position to have the game on the line like that and be that close of a game. So yeah, and I think he would agree with that too. Dabo said that throughout the press conference that yes, at the end of the day, it was a tight game. So calls like that are going to go one way or the other. They would have liked to have dominated and then not make a game come down to one call like that. I know that's coach speak, but they always say don't put yourselves in that situation. So yeah, I get it. The fine, it's tough. $10,000 for Clemson. I think they can handle it. But it is interesting to see, and it kind of just again shows the frustration of these teams. And like for South Carolina and Clemson, it seems like once things are not going right, it just seems to kind of like snowball, right? That once nothing's going your way, both these guys are going through it. So really thinking about Dabo Sweeney and Shane Beamer these days. I know they're going through some toughness that neither of them expected this season, and it's not over yet. But we've got more to unpack here on Palmetto Sports Daily. This isn't over yet either. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back in here to Palmetto Sports Daily on this Monday. And the Citadel Bulldogs have quite the weekend. They get to keep the Silver Shako here in downtown Charleston for the second year in a row. The Citadel scoring 28 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to come back and beat their rivals in VMI in the 81st meeting of the Military Classic of the South. That's the Silver Shako trophy right there that they get to keep here in Charleston. The Bulldogs and VMI, they've been playing for over a century. They took some time off, I believe, in the 20s and then maybe the 40s for some wars or something going on there. But yes, a long historical battle with these two. The Citadel fought to the finish. Like I said, they were down 28 points or 27, scoring 28 points in the fourth quarter to come back and beat VMI. And a big turning point for the Citadel Bulldogs. They've been improving this season, and they were coming off a tough loss to Furman, who they see as their other rival. But head coach Maurice Drayton, I talked to him today, and he talked about how significant this win was for his team.
Yes, it was very critical. And now it takes the messaging that we have, and now it's real life for them. They had the opportunity to live it. So I know going forward in their individual lives, they will always know they may be down, but they're not out. So it's one thing hearing it in a classroom, but it's another thing living it. And because they had the opportunity to live it, I truly believe we have 120 men in our program who just added a little notch to their life lessons, their maturation process, that's going to make them better individuals.
Yeah, special to hear them talking about those teachable moments. And now they're going to look to carry that momentum over as they've got a big, what they call a money game this Saturday. They head to number 7 Ole Miss. So the Citadel Bulldogs looking to keep all the momentum they can off of that rivalry win against VMI as they head to the number 7 team in the country with Ole Miss. So wrapping up kind of the college football stuff this weekend, but quite the controversy in Columbia with some high school football with two of the biggest teams in the state. Rick Henry, what has gone on with Dutch Fork and Irmo?
Well, we had a Titanic game of the week on Friday. You had Irmo. They were ranked number 1 in my Midland's top 10, and Dutch Fork number 2. Their neighborhood rivals. The kids grow up playing youth sports with each other. But before the game, we saw kind of like a heated discussion between Dutch Fork head coach Tom Knotts there on the left and Irmo head coach Aaron Brand. Now, Brand worked for Coach Knotts in Charlotte at Independence High, and they remained good friends. But after the game, Coach Knotts had a startling and troubling revelation about something he was accusing someone from Irmo of doing. Let's listen to Coach Knotts, and he'll explain it.
Well, they broke into our Huddle account, and Huddle's where we film, and they watched all of our practices this week. So that's bull crap. That's what that was all about. So, somebody should pay for that. They, just shouldn't do that. They were in our Huddle account.
What was Coach Brand's response when you told him?
He acted like he didn't know, and I believe him. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, so I don't think he acknowledged he knew it, but there's other coaches that had to be complicit in it. Somebody watched film this morning for 2 hours at 6 a.m. Somebody watched our film for 2 hours at 6 a.m. Not happy about that.
Yeah, and you can understand why Coach Knotts is not happy about that. We heard him say it was like a total of 18 hours, and then they did it again at 6 a.m. on Friday and watched it for 2 hours. So we haven't heard the last of this. There will probably be an investigation. Dutch Fork won the game 28-21. And it's unfortunate that they can't meet in the playoffs because Dutch Fork is 5A Division I, Irmo is 5A Division II. So, Teagan, have you ever heard of anything familiar to this? I guess we can call this, I don't know, high-tech spying.
No, not anything like this. You know, I've had my fair share of a couple of controversies in high school football down here, but nothing like breaking into a huddle account and watching for 18 hours. I think that's the part of this story that just sticks out to me the most, and the fact that, you know, whoever it was waking up at 6 a.m. on Friday morning, sitting down for 2 hours, and once again analyzing this. So, I mean, I really do hope that there is some kind of investigation into this, because however that person got access to that account, I mean, I don't think that's something that they should have been able to do. Summer?
Yeah, listen, I think I kind of look at it both sides, honestly. I mean, in this day of high school football, everyone shares film, right? And I've dealt with this with, you know, I have family members and stuff involved with high school football. And it's like, if you can't get it from one team, you can get it from another. And I know this was a little bit deeper than that, talking about practice video. But you know what? I think at some point you kind of say, you know what, win anyways. And they did. So I get it. It's frustrating. Yes, you can say it's cheating, all of that. But also to kind of, I mean, knowing Tom Knotts, the guy doesn't care. He's going to say how he feels, of course. And he's had a right to. I mean, look what he's done and the success he's had there at Dutch Fork, up in Charlotte at Independence. The list goes on and on. But you kind of think you did still win the game. And also, like, if someone's going to take the time to watch 18 hours of film like that, I'm almost like, I kind of respect it in a way. Yes, it's cheating. I get all of this. But everyone's sharing their huddle links. I mean, I get this was a deeper form of the video, right? But in high school football, you're sharing film. I mean, there's only so many plays that these guys are running. Yes, I know these are complex teams now, running complex offenses and defenses now, but come on now. I mean, you can watch all the film and see what they're going to do. At the end of the day, I'm like, you took the time to do it. They did what they can, and they still didn't win. I know it was close, so I would like to see him again. So it sucks we can't. Caroline?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I guess the fact of the matter is, like, if it was stolen, maybe that's not the right way to go about it, right? Like, if you have your film available to you from high schools from all over the place, like, that's great. Like, just do it the right way, you know, so that we don't have to talk about this, that it doesn't happen again, so that nobody's breaking any kinds of rules. I mean, I feel like that's just kind of the moral of the story, win or loss. It's like, let's just do everything how we're supposed to do it, and we won't have to have these conversations about the controversies, right, Rick?
Yeah, well, Summer, going back to your comments about is practice, yeah, you don't want to share your practice video. When I was out at Dutch Fork last week talking to Tom Knotts, and he saw I was standing behind him, and he was drawing up a play, going over a play, and he goes, "Oh, don't show all our tricks." Yeah, he definitely didn't want something out there. I've had the same thing happen at a USC football practice. They don't want that practice video out there for everyone to see. All right, that's going to wrap up this segment of Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll take a timeout, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily, everybody. We're still talking about football because why not when the Carolina Panthers are 5-4 on the season. They went into Green Bay, absolutely stunned the Packers, getting their first win at Lambeau Field since 2008. And there wasn't a ton of offense in this game, but the ending is all you really need to know about, I guess, in addition to Rico Dowdle's 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the end of the game is what you really need to know about. Rookie kicker for the Panthers, Ryan Fitzgerald. He actually missed an extra point in this game, which is how it resulted in being 13-13 with time running out. But he had a game winner for the Panthers against the Cowboys, and he was able to get it done again, making a 49-yarder to win it. The Panthers beat the Packers, one of the top teams in the NFC, 16-13 yesterday.
I think there is a sort of comfort level in the fact that I've done it before. I'm still learning new experiences, tough environment on the road this week, tough conditions. You know, there's a lot of firsts for me, and I still got to keep getting better.
We trusted in him to do it, and we got down there. I don't know if we had much of a choice, but Ryan just has the same kind of ability. He bounces back, he learns lessons, he stacks, and he just continues to improve.
Exciting stuff there. Guys, did any of you have the Panthers beating the Packers on the road on your bingo card yesterday?
No. And,
of course
you know,
we did.
this, yeah, I mean, this offense by the Panthers, since they beat my Cowboys, they've scored only 3 touchdowns in 3 games, and they've won 2 of them. This is just the craziest football season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think I've made it pretty clear throughout the season my lack of confidence in the Panthers. So was I pretty shocked yesterday? Yes. Was I shocked by their lack of offense? No. All right, we got to take a quick break here on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be right back. We're wrapping up another episode of Palmetto Sports Daily, but we would be remiss not to mention basketball season because it does tip off officially. For me, we've got Coastal Carolina, the men's team on the road taking on Western Michigan, the women's team at home tonight hosting Miami, Ohio. Both teams full of transfers, lots of new faces, lots of question marks. Caroline, how about you?
Yeah, well, Clemson women's basketball already played. They got a 76-38 win over local foe USC Upstate today. Rachel Rose playing her former team there. 3 players finished in double figures, getting the Tigers off to a strong start in year 2 of the Sean Poppy era. And the men got a little doubleheader action at Little John Coliseum today. They follow them up at 7 p.m., hosting New Hampshire later this evening. Summer?
Yeah, the College of Charleston kicks off year 2 under Chris Mack. They were hosting Tusculum tonight. The Citadel is also home tonight. And then Charleston Southern, they are at Virginia Tech. The Citadel hosting Erskine, by the way. I should have mentioned that. And Charleston Southern is at Virginia Tech for a fun one. Rick, what y'all got in Columbia?
Second-ranked Gamecock women tip off the season at 7 o'clock against Grand Canyon, coached by former USC assistant Winston Gandy. And then tomorrow, the Gamecock men will tip off against North Carolina A&T at 7. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Palmetto Sports Daily. Everyone have a great week, and we'll be back here tomorrow night, so come back and catch us.